paso, sumate a nuestro equipo. Votá la lista 507, es nuestra lista.
Musiconducción, todos por Berazategui. Frente de todos, la vida que queremos.
Basta de intrusiones y entraderas en tu hogar, negocio o empresa. Vigi Electro, monitoreo 24 es la solución en Berazategui. Sistema colaborativo entre abonados a través de internet y radiofrecuencia. Activa y desactiva tu alarma desde tu celular. Cuida a los que más querés con la seguridad que te brinda Vigi Electro. Comunicate al WhatsApp 11 6678 7350 o al teléfono 4356 2003. Visítanos de 10 a 17 horas en calle 148, número 1651, Berazategui. Conocenos en nuestra página web www.vigielectro.com.ar.
Espacio cedido por la Dirección Nacional Electoral.
Es escuchar a los chicos, escuchar a sus madres y padres. Es decir, basta al que no le importa o no sabe que en la educación está el único futuro. Vengo a trabajar, trabajar y trabajar para que el 500.000 de chicos que abandonó la escuela en la provincia vuelva a las aulas. Es urgente y es posible, porque vengo a ofrecer nuestra experiencia.
Es Diego El Colo Santilli, Graciela Ocaña, precandidatos a diputados nacionales por la provincia de Buenos Aires. Lista 506, juntos.
Encontrá todo lo que necesitas para tus reuniones y fiestas en Fiestísima. Panchos, snack, super panchos, hamburguesas. Consultanos al 4256-0006 o envíanos un WhatsApp al 11 6633 3322. Seguinos en las redes como Fiestísima Berazategui Centro. Nuestra dirección, calle 12, esquina 146. Delivery permanente de 10 a 18 horas. Fiestísima. 17 años siendo el sponsor oficial de todos tus festejos. Cartocan SRL. Fábrica de cajas en cartón corrugado. 100 medidas distintas en stock permanente. Cajas archivo, cajas para exportación, parasoles. Cartocan SRL. La Rioja 1642 Avellaneda, 4208-0997, www.cartocan.com.ar.
Queremos que tengas el mejor camino para ir al cole. Por eso, estamos construyendo 23 nuevos corredores escolares seguros, con más de 900 columnas de luminarias LED, 85 cámaras y más de 50.000 metros de ampliación en el tendido de fibra óptica municipal. Más info en berazategui.gov.ar. Berazategui Municipalidad. Berazategui, corazón de zona sur.
Espacio cedido por la Dirección Nacional Electoral.
Ni de un lado ni del otro.
Del tuyo.
Florencio hace bien.
Lista 508. Frente Vamos con Vos. Línea 1. Precandidato a diputado provincial por la tercera sección electoral. Terrera Nicolás L.
Torrente de frescura. Llega a tu hogar con agua de mesa envasada no gasificada. Ubicanos en calle 154, esquina 38, Plátanos, o comunicate a nuestro WhatsApp 11 5835 6763 o a nuestro teléfono 011 21 18 0459. Torrente de frescura. Agua apta para alimentación y uso doméstico.
En Open Sports tenemos lo que necesitas para superarte todos los días.
¡Supérate! Open Sports.
Vení y encontrá la mayor variedad de calzado, indumentaria de Nike, Adidas y muchas marcas más. Llévate lo que buscas a los mejores precios, con todas las promos bancarias en 3 y 6 cuotas sin interés y planes ahora, o con nuestros exclusivos créditos personales.
¡Supérate! Open Sports.
Visítanos de lunes a sábado en nuestras 3 sucursales de calle 49, esquina 5, calle 12 entre 58 y 59 y en el outlet de Camino Centenario 506, también abierto los domingos.
Berazategui crece. Nuevas obras en la red cloacal. Sumamos 13.300 metros de cañería domiciliaria y 3.200 de colectores cloacales. Más de 4.500 vecinas y vecinos beneficiados. Seguimos trabajando para brindar más y mejores servicios municipales. Más info en berazategui.gov.ar. Berazategui Municipalidad. Berazategui, corazón de zona sur.
Espacio gratuito asignado por la Dirección Nacional Electoral.
Avancemos.
Avanza Expert. Avanza Libertad. Avanzás vos. José Luis Expert, Carolina Píparo, precandidatos a primer y segundo diputados nacionales por la provincia de Buenos Aires. Avanza Libertad. Lista A, Libertad 503.
Espacio cedido por la Dirección Nacional Electoral.
Patria, soberanía, dignidad y orgullo.
Partido Popular, Santiago Cunio, precandidato a diputado nacional por Buenos Aires. Lista 239, A, Confederal.
GMC 21. Estacionamiento con cámaras de seguridad las 24 horas. La mejor gastronomía y confitería. Telefonía celular. Internet. Estamos en calle 21, esquina 148, Berazategui. Mucho más que una estación de servicio. GMC 21.
Por primera vez, una mujer encabeza una lista en Berazategui. Diana Paterno. Con una mujer es distinto. Colo Santilli, Diana Paterno. Vota lista 506 2B. Juntos.
Aqualina llegó a Zona Sur, la primer y única agua alcalina de todo el país. No es un medicamento, pero ataca la raíz del problema. Aqualina hidrata, oxigena, retrasa el envejecimiento, mejora la presión y digestión, incrementa la energía y beneficia a tu cuerpo como ninguna otra. Para hacer tu pedido, contactanos al 11 25 10 97 28 o a través de nuestra página de Facebook aqualina.quilmes. Aqualina Agua Alcalina, el agua que puede cambiar tu vida.
91.7. 32 años.
La compañía
de siempre.
De siempre.
FM Espacio presenta Jansen Interviews. Idea y conducción, Jansen Polímata. Producción, Maricel Cugñata. Dirección general, Roberto Di Stefano. Con nosotros, el periodista Jansen Polímata.
Hola Buenos Aires, hola Argentina, hola mundo. Aquí estamos nuevamente para empezar una emisión más de nuestro programa Jansen Interviews en FM Espacio. Muchísimas gracias a todo el público que nos sigue, muchísimas gracias a todos que estáis ahí del otro lado. Nos vamos directamente ahora al grano porque bueno, hoy tenemos mucho material. Vamos a hablar con Max, que es ucraniano, es modelo y bueno, en realidad nos va a hablar un poco de política, aunque sea modelo, pero nos va a hablar un poco de política porque bueno, porque es un joven muy politizado. Y nos va a contar un poquito acerca del 30 años de la revolución, del fin de la revolución rusa, ¿no? De la Unión Soviética, que ese año cumple 30 años y desde su país, por supuesto, bueno, 30 años de la independencia de Ucrania, un país que actualmente, bueno, vive bajo una crisis enorme que tiene mucho que ver también con la guerra que lleva con Rusia desde hace 8 años por la ocupación de Crimea y por cuestiones relacionadas con Donetsk y Lugansk, dos regiones que son afines a Rusia. Así que bueno, nos va a contar ya Maxim, así que vamos ya a la entrevista con Maxim, directamente desde Ucrania, Kiev, o como él me dijo que se tiene que decir, Kiev.
Aquí estoy, vou te procurando pelas ruas de Moscú.
Muy bien, seguimos aquí en Jansen Interviews. Y vamos ahora a Kiev o a Kiev. Ya nos va a contar mi invitado cómo se pronuncia. Bueno, voy a hablar con Maxim, que es modelo, es ucraniano. Bueno, y además es muy simpático. Pero bueno, nos va a contar además cómo se pronuncia todo eso. Bueno, yo hablo ruso, pero vamos a hacer la entrevista en inglés porque él es ucraniano. Y bueno, esa es una de las cuestiones que vamos a hablar. Ucrania habla los dos idiomas, pero él prefiere hablar en ucraniano, ¿no? Que tiene toda una cuestión también, como por ejemplo los catalanes en España que hablan catalán y español, así que bueno, vamos a entender un poco de todo eso. So, Max, thank you very much for being here in Jansen Interviews. It's a pleasure to have you here, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and hello everybody.
Muchísimas gracias por invitarme. Hola a todos. Well, first of all, Max, primeramente vamos a aclarar la pronunciación, cómo se pronuncia Kiev, Ucrania, ucraniano y todo eso. Vamos a aclarar para las personas, porque él me corrigió, no? So Max corrected me. So let's clarify the pronunciation of Kyiv, Ukraine, Ukrainians, etc. No, so let's see, Max, the right way.
And everybody, just not everybody, but a lot of people in the world call the capital of Ukraine as Kiev because of Soviet Union.
Muchas personas alrededor del mundo llaman la capital de Ucrania de Kiev porque así era en la Unión Soviética.
Yeah, but the right version is Kyiv because that's Ukrainian version and Kyiv is a Ukrainian city, so the right version is Kyiv, not Kiev.
Pero la versión correcta es Kyiv. ¿Está bien? Correct?
Yeah, Kyiv.
Bien, muy bien. So, okay. Bueno, Max, voy a empezar ya politizando contigo. Yo veo que eres un chico inteligente, ¿no? Entonces voy a empezar politizando, ¿no? ¿Por qué hablas de la Unión Soviética? Bueno, tu generación no conoció la Unión Soviética, pero bueno, la generación de tus padres y de tus abuelos sí. ¿Y cuál hubiera sido la mejor, cuáles son las ventajas y las desventajas de no ser Unión Soviética más, ¿no? Y es cierto que tu generación prefiere la República Ucraniana y la generación de tus padres y abuelos quizás la Unión Soviética. Okay, I will translate. I said that I'm going to start directly, as you mentioned, Soviet Union. I'm going to start directly speaking about politics because I see that you are a smart guy, and so you understand the world that we live in. No, because many people have this prejudice with models that they don't care about. It's not true. Max is a very smart guy. We spoke about politics, and in the same level, he taught me a lot of things. So I would like to ask you, you didn't live in that generation of Soviet Union when Kyiv was Kiev, but I speak to people from your generation, and normally they say that they prefer, Ukrainian Republic. As well, I speak to Russians, and they prefer Russian Republic. But sometimes I speak to people from older generation, like could be your parents or your grandparents, and most of them, they said that in that time it was better, there was full work, etc. How do you deal with that? What information do you have? And do you speak about this with your father and your mother and your parents, grandparents? Which one is better, if there is a better place?
I have no idea to which people you were speaking, but everybody knows, almost everybody in Ukraine, that Soviet Union was literally the worst page of our history and probably in the history of all world. Just to be honest, because in Soviet Union, they were killing Ukrainians, they were prohibiting Ukrainian language, because Ukrainian language is much older than even Russian. So Kyiv was Kyiv forever, but after prohibitions, people just started to call it as Kiev or something like this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will translate not to lose the point. Dijo Max que no sabe dónde escuché eso porque, bueno, la Unión Soviética fue la peor página de la historia de Ucrania y, bueno, muchas personas fueron muertas y las libertades fueron eliminadas y, bueno, y precisamente hicieron ese tipo de cambios, ¿no? Del nombre del país y todo. ¿Has hablado con tus abuelos sobre la Unión Soviética? ¿Qué dicen ellos? You asked me where I heard that. I told you, I heard that from older generation, from people more than 60 years old, 70 years old. My question is, have you spoken to your grandparents about that?
Sure. Because, some people from older generation says, like, everything was cheap, and something like this, but the salary was lower. And, in Soviet Union, they had only two kinds of, they had no products. All of products was the same. Just water, one kind of meat, one kind of sweets or something. Because right now we have a lot of products, different sweets, different dairies, different meat or something. But in Soviet Union, they didn't have it because it was planning economic cap.
Sí, dice Max que bueno, que las personas de una generación mayor dicen que bueno, que supuestamente en aquella época había más dinero, se ganaba mejor, pero que en realidad es lo contrario, no había productos, no había opciones, había solo, por ejemplo, un tipo de arroz, un tipo de eso, un tipo de carne, un tipo de leche, y en cambio hoy, bueno, vivimos en una sociedad abierta que hay todo tipo de productos, ¿no? Eso es cierto, mucha gente dice que cuando se viajaba de Berlín Occidental a Berlín Oriental era absurda la diferencia, o por ejemplo de París hacia Hungría. I said that it's true. I have many friends that told me that by old generation they say that when they traveled from West Berlin to East Berlin, from Paris to Hungary, for example, or any other Soviet country, the difference was absurd in terms of poverty, in terms of options, in terms of liberty, etc. So, yeah, it confirms what you were saying. Well, Max, este año estamos cumpliendo 30 años de la independencia de Ucrania, ¿no? Y se cumple 30 años del fin de la Unión Soviética, ¿no? ¿Qué significa eso exactamente, no? Bueno, estamos en pleno festejo en esos días. ¿Qué significa eso exactamente para ti? This year we are celebrating 30 years of the Republic, no? Ukrainian Republic.
Just rebirth of independence of Ukraine.
Yeah, the independence, but also it's a 30 year of the end of the Soviet Union because it was in 1991 December. So what does that mean exactly to you and to people? What is the meaning of that historically?
To people in Ukraine, that means kind of we're going farther from Russians because already for 300 years, Russians are just, occupators of us. So Ukraine was occupied by Russians, by Polish people for 300 years, approximately, or even more. So that's a freedom for us.
For 300 years?
Yeah, or even more.
Okay. Dice que, bueno, que significa la libertad, porque siempre Ucrania estuvo ocupada hace más de 300 años por muchos países, ¿no? Max, there is freedom for 30 years in Ukraine. Well, I'm doing the question in English first. It's good because then you have time to think while I translate into Spanish. But if there are 30 years of independence in Ukraine, why the crisis is so high in Ukraine, and why the situation is each time worse? Because we know that there is a lot of economic problems in Ukraine that cannot be solved. No, it's a deep crisis. And what do you think if there is total freedom for 30 years? What is the reason of that? I will translate into Spanish while you think. Le he preguntado si hace 30 años que hay independencia y si el país es libre, ¿por qué entonces hay crisis tan grande? ¿Por qué hay una crisis económica tan grande? ¿A qué se atribuye eso, Max?
Our hugest problem is Russia as a neighbor, because, right now we have a war already for 8 years with Russia, and they have occupied Crimea, the part of Ukraine, and eastern Ukraine too. And, they have stolen some of territory, so a part of GDP, and also war is taking a huge part of GDP. But also our problem is a corruption, and it comes from Soviet Union too, because in Poland, as example, they have fully illustrated their government, but not in Ukraine, because, communists had a really strong positions in Ukraine, because Ukraine is a close neighbor of Russia. Russia is a mother communist country in Soviet Union and stuff like this. So, as I think, Ukraine have to make a full illustration of a government, to make new faces, not attached to to an old generation of politics.
Ok.
That's it.
Bueno, dice Max que los problemas de Ucrania tienen que ver principalmente con Rusia porque está la ocupación de Crimea que Rusia arrebató hace 8 años, dice él, por un lado. Por otro lado, hay mucha corrupción en el país también y bueno, todas esas cuestiones hacen que el país tenga dificultades de crecimiento, ¿no? Max, you're talking about something very delicate, very delicate.
Yep.
You're a young man and you're very brave. Congratulations, because I don't see many guys in your generation speaking about this. It's such a thing that suscitates a lot of passion. No? I have to give my point as well, because we're speaking about this. I'm a journalist, so well, I'm neutral. I love Russia, I love Ukraine, and I love these two countries. I don't really like this war, so I have to say it here. But of course, I respect as well your point. You call it like enemies, but I think that it's just like brothers fighting. You say it's not. I know, but then,
no.
I know. It's my feeling. I'm talking about my feeling. I respect yours. I don't like wars. I don't like the situation. And I tell you something that happened to me. I was in Moscow like 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, more or less, maybe 3 years ago. It was next to the World Cup, and I met a friend in Ukraine in Kyiv. Okay, and we became very good friends. And well, he's from Crimea, and well, he was in Moscow, visiting Moscow, and he invited me to go to his house, his family house. After that, he lived in Kyiv, but he was inviting me for his family house in Crimea, and I bought the ticket and said, "Yeah, of course, good." And well, when I was about to go, like 3 days before, I had a coffee with a French friend from Paris, that time living in Moscow, and well, he said, "Don't go, Jan, don't fly to Crimea." I said, "What?" He said, "If you fly to Crimea, you're going to be illegal. You can be arrested." I said, "What?" I was like, what's going on? I knew about the war, but I didn't understand the point that it could affect our lives. And then he told me, I said, "What are you talking about? How can I be arrested because I go to Crimea? What is the crime?" Well, Crimea, it sounds like, but he told me, well, the thing is very easy. It's Ukrainian land, and Russia took it 8 years ago, as you said. So if you go with your Russian visa, you're illegal automatically to Ukrainian, because you're entering Ukrainian territory without a visa. So you're committing a crime, contravention. And if you go from Ukraine, you're going to make an illegal thing in Russia. So in any case, you have problems. And said, wow. And then he told me, but you can go, you can fly from Moscow, just don't post photos on your Facebook, or just don't speak to people, etc. Well, after that, I said, no, I'm not going, because I'm not going to be hiding what I'm doing. I'm a big man. I mean, first of all, it's like if I go from Russia, I'm supporting Russia. If I go from Ukraine, I'm supporting Ukraine. It's very complicated, you know. So I decided not to go to Crimea because of this. I will translate, okay? Le estaba contando que a Max, que bueno, hace unos años un amigo me invitó, un amigo ucraniano que estuvo en Moscú, me invitó para ir a casa de su familia en Crimea, y bueno, cuando iba a volar, un amigo francés me dijo, no vayas, porque si vas allí con una visa rusa, estarías ilegal en territorio ucraniano, y si vas con una visa ucraniana, estarías ilegal en territorio ruso. Entonces finalmente no fui, decidí no ir, porque de cualquier forma que fuera estaría tomando partido, ¿no? Max, there is not only the question with the Crimea, there is also the question with Donetsk, Lugansk, you know, about... Because the thing is, for the public, of course you know that better than me, but for the public, the thing is, there is in this moment, there are like two sides of Ukraine, which one is Ukraine, is okay? Now I'm a little bit...
Yeah, that's okay.
One side is like pro-Russia and the other side is pro-Europe. So that's the thing about Donetsk and Lugansk as well. That's the thing. It's like a search of identity, right? My question for you is, Max, what do you think? Do you think there is a solution for this conflict between Russia and Ukraine? Do you think it's going to come soon? What is your vision about that? Le pregunto a Max, porque la cuestión en Ucrania tiene que ver con la identidad. Muchos ucranianos tienen identidad rusa, muchos ucranianos tienen identidad europea. Le pregunto a Max si él ve una solución para ese conflicto ruso-ucraniano, ¿no? ¿Cómo lo ves, Max?
I don't have any ideas about the solution of this problem, because Ukrainian army is strong enough just to take our territories back, kind of our eastern territories, because Crimea looks like a huge military base right now. But if Ukraine will take its territories back, Russia can just start going to Kyiv, as example, to take a wall Ukraine. And in Ukraine, we understand that nobody will help us. America won't help us. Europe won't help us because they're thinking about, their problems, their business, and same with us. So that's it. Because Russian armies are really, really huge and strong. Because they're paying a lot of money to a war like this.
Bueno, dice Max que Rusia tiene un ejército muy grande, que Ucrania tenía la posibilidad de ir a intentar recuperar su territorio, pero que, bueno, eso produce que Europa y Estados Unidos no se meterían en ese conflicto, con lo cual, bueno, quedaría Ucrania sola contra el gigante ruso luchando ahí, etc. Have you heard the Putin? Yes.
I want to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
After 1991, after Soviet Union, Ukraine had the third biggest nuclear weapon amount in the whole world. But, America was saying kind of just give your weapons. Russia were saying, give your weapons, kind of down it, you get it. But so Ukraine just gave its nuclear weapon to Russia. And then a lot of countries in the world just subscribed the Budapest Memorandum. Where, in this memorandum, Russia, USA, a lot of European countries promised to protect Ukraine and not to attack Ukraine. And Russia was a part of this memorandum. But as we can see, Russia just have attacked Ukraine. With Ukraine right now have no nuclear weapon, but we had.
See, well, Chernobyl, for example, or Chernobyl, no, the pronunciation, the correct pronunciation.
That's atomic station, but I'm talking about nuclear weapon.
Weapons, okay.
Yeah.
Ok. Bueno, está diciendo que tras el fin de la Unión Soviética se firmó un memorando en Budapest, del cual, bueno, los países decían que iban a cuidar de los países, y un memorando de una especie de paz, de armisticio, bueno, donde no habría conflictos y invasiones, y bueno, y según dice Max, entonces Rusia no habría respetado ese memorando porque invadió las tierras de Ucrania, ¿no? Luego de la... And okay, let's speak about Donetsk and Lugansk as well, because the thing there is not about the Russians so much. It's about as well, because I understand, Max, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand that there is this situation with Russia in Crimea, but also there is the situation of many Ukrainians that feel identified with Russian culture, no? Like there is a division inside of the country, here, no? Inside of the country. What do you think?
Russia shows our war.
For the public. Le pregunto si además de Crimea, si además de Donetsk y Lugansk, si el problema también no es la identidad, porque hay ucranianos que se sienten identificados con Rusia, hay ucranianos que se sienten identificados con Europa. Max.
Russian government shows this situation as a, just inside war in Ukraine. Kind of they're saying no Russians over there, kind of that's a war between Ukrainians and Ukrainians, but that's not true because I have a lot of friends in Donetsk, Luhansk from there. They were running away from there to Kyiv, as example. And also I have a lot of siblings in Crimea because my mother were born in Crimea. So that's it. And,
so it affects you a lot. I understand now.
Militarists in Donetsk and Luhansk, they have, Russian flags over here. They have a Russian weapon, only Russian weapon, their technologies, And that was a situation with Boeing, a plane flying upper the Donbass, upper the eastern Ukraine, and missile rocket from Russian territory just hit it. And as I know, approximately 300 people has died. Europeans, some Ukrainians, people from the whole world.
Yeah, but Max, my question is not this. My question is, if we speak about Crimea, okay, Russia took the territory, it's something from outside. My question is, are there citizens, Ukrainian citizens, that prefer to have this Russian culture? Because that's what I understand. Maybe it's not true, but the information that we have, the journalists that we had, is that they're part of the country, they want to be Russians in terms of culture, and part of the country want to be Europe. And that's what about the revolution in Maidan, right? Like 6, 7, 8 years ago in the square, the May Day, no? So is it true that there are some citizens, the Ukrainian citizens, that perceive themselves as Russian?
The minority of citizens in some regions.
Okay.
Yeah, some people, yes, but they're saying you're in Ukraine. If you don't like Ukraine, that you love Russia, just then go to Russia.
No,
they're saying like this.
Yeah. Okay, but it's not, when I say Russian, I don't mean Russian in terms of Russian from Россия Federacja. I say Russian culture, like Soviets, like Slavic, and not like Europeans. Because Europe as well, you have Spanish people has nothing to do with the Germans, but they have like the same. That's the thing. You know what I'm talking about? Looking to this side or looking to that side. That's what I'm talking about. I have to translate 1 second, please. Le estoy preguntando si, por ejemplo, dentro del territorio ucraniano también habría esa disidencia, ¿no? Que algunas personas podrían tener un poco de simpatía por la cultura rusa, y Max dijo que es la minoría, the minority de las personas podrían tener esa afinidad por Rusia. Okay, bueno, Max, let's talk a little bit about you now, okay?
At first place, just give me one more word. At first place, Ukrainians, not pro-European, they're pro-Ukrainian. That's it. And Ukraine as a center of Slavic culture, we're just absolutely Slavics. But we feel more connected to Europe because, Russia is kind of Slavic Mongolian country because, their Golden Heart history and stuff like this. So that's
true. I was in
Ukraine is more connected to country.
I was in Dagestan 2 years ago, and it looked like another country. People are different. The customs are different. There is a lot of republics in Russia. By the way, there are republics. It's called the Respublika.
Because when it was Kievan Rus, you get it right, the country. Kiev was the center of huge country, Ukraine was the center of huge country, but Moscow was borderland of this country. But then, when Golden Heart came here, they occupied all of territory of our lands. But then Ukrainians with Polish people, with Lithuanians, they just, they defended this land, just make it free again. But Russia was still occupied by Golden Heart. So they just, mix it. That's it.
Bueno, dice Max, que en realidad Ucrania es el centro de la cultura eslávica, que Rusia también tiene eslavos, pero tiene otros, es un país que tiene cultura mongólica y otros pueblos. Y yo dije que es cierto, que hay muchas repúblicas en Rusia. Le di un ejemplo de cuando viajé al Daguestán, que ahí las personas son distintas, otra etnia, otra cultura. Y dice que, que no es que los ucranianos son pro-europeos, sino que son pro-ucranianos, pero con una orientación de identidad europea. Tiene esa identidad hacia Europa, ¿no? Ese sentimiento europeo. Okay, well, let's...
And one more interesting thing.
There is one more.
And,
Ukrainians
and Russians have a phraseologism as, let's put all the dots on I. You know that, right? Let's put all the dots on I. We have a letter, the sound, calls E.
What?
And the sound that calls E.
E. Yeah, because in Russia you don't have that letter E. It's like the N upside down, like
yeah. The sound is E, and they have this phraseologism too. Let's put all of the dots on E.
Okay.
But we have this dot, but Russians know. Phraseology, something that exists in the world for hundreds of years, for thousands of years. You get it, right? So that's a question of history, of languages. You get it, right?
Yeah. Bueno, él está hablando del proselitismo, dice vamos a poner los puntos en las Is, y entonces está explicando que eso existe desde hace muchos siglos. Okay, I'm going to make another question, because one of the most important things in a country is the language. For example, I lived in Spain for some years in Madrid, and I remember one of my friends from Barcelona, he was coming to Madrid, and he told me, Jan, I'm coming to Madrid on the weekend. I said, where are you? I'm in Barcelona. What? No, I mean, he said, I'm coming to Spain. I'm not coming to Madrid, because for someone from Barcelona, Catalonia is a country. They speak Catalan. They don't like to speak Spanish at all. So
yeah, I know that.
Yeah, how do you deal with that? Because in Kyiv, people speak both Russian and Ukrainian language, but more Russian. Spoken language is more Russian. Definitely, Max. People speak Russian in Kyiv.
That depends on part of Kyiv. That depends on part of Kyiv.
I have never heard Ukrainian in Kyiv. I have heard in Lvov, in many cities, yes, but not in Kyiv. But okay, how do you deal with that when you have to speak in Russia, in Kiev, in your country? How do you feel? Do you speak in Russia, or you don't like to? Do you resist?
I can't speak Russian. I can.
Okay.
But,
One second. I translate the question for the public.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
Pregunto a Max porque dije que en Kiev las personas hablan en ruso. En otras ciudades de Ucrania, pues las personas hablan en ucraniano, porque por ejemplo en la ciudad de Lvov, ahí las personas hablan en ucraniano, pero en Kiev las personas hablan en ruso, porque me pasa siempre, escucho y he estado 20 veces en Kiev y lo sé. Entonces le pregunto si puede hablar ruso, cómo se siente hablando ruso. Max.
A lot of people from older generations said to me that kind of just 20 years ago, only 10% of Kiev were speaking Ukrainian, because in Soviet Union, Ukrainian language was prohibited. But Kiev is a huge city, so that's a huge platform to the repressions. Yeah. And if you want to live in Kiev, it was like you have to speak Russian. That's it. But right now, Kiev is a central city, so it's kind of 50-50 city. For sure. Probably a bit more Russian, but I'm not sure, because...
You you feel good when you speak in Russian with people?
Me?
Yes.
I almost never speak...
With your compatriots, with Ukrainians, if they speak to you, how do you feel?
If they speak Russian, to me, I'm absolutely okay.
Okay.
And
conflict-free.
Ukrainian is, much higher for me. That's more beautiful with more words, because Ukrainian language contains more than 30,000 of words, when Russian language is very rich. Everybody knows that Russian language is very rich, but Russian language contains only 15,000 of words, more than 2 times difference. You get it. I'm absolutely okay with Russian language, but...
Le he preguntado si se siente bien hablando ruso, dice que no tiene problema con eso, no pasa por eso conflicto. Okay, bueno, and to finish, let's speak a little bit about you, no? Tell me a little bit about yourself, because, we want to know as well, you're a model, how did you become a model, how it happened, and what exactly, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your hobbies, your goals, your dreams, etc. Le pregunto a Max que hable un poquito de él. Max es modelo. Le pregunto cómo llegó ahí, por qué es modelo, cuáles son sus ambiciones, sus sueños.
To be honest, just some years ago, I was just, I was more math lover. I used to write some programs, some websites, but then some model agencies started to, hunting me, scouting me.
Oh, you were hunted. You were scouted on the street.
At first it's street, then in Instagram, and my scout from my mother agency, from my present mother agency, they scouted me on Instagram. And I don't know, 1 year ago, I started to find me in more, creative professions, to be a plot writer of something. I have started to write a book. I'm interested in photography, in art, in music, and stuff like this. But still, I don't like math. So I don't like both parts. So that's it.
You're a genius, Max. You're a complete Da Vinci, more or less.
But right now I'm developing me as a model because that's really interesting because, you may learn something about different cultures, let foreign people know something about you and your culture, to bring something good to your country because I do love Ukraine by all of my heart, and my dream is to break the Soviet regime in Ukraine and, to break this corruption, to make a full illustration, and to make models come from Europe to Ukraine to work, not from Ukraine to Europe.
A lot of ambition, Max. Oh, very good. I will translate for the public a little bit. So, contó que cómo llegó a ser modelo. Le dijo que lo buscaron, se llama scouting eso. Lo buscaron por Instagram, por las calles, le perseguían, le preguntaban siempre. Y que él, le gusta las artes, él tiene blogs, él empezó a escribir un libro. Y de repente empezó a modelar y eso, le permite conocer otras culturas y viajar por el mundo y que le gusta mucho hacer eso. And have you been to other countries? ¿Has estado en otros países como modelo, as a model?
Something more? You want me to continue?
Yes. No, because you told that you like to, as a model, you can find other cultures and so I have some model friends, and that's true. I have a friend, and he's all the time I'm in New York, I'm in Paris, I'm in Tokyo, all the time. It's of course, except in the pandemic because it's different world now. All the time traveling, all the time. So have you started to travel already? Have you the opportunity to travel around? Has tenido la oportunidad?
Yeah, just in the end of May, I just came back from Seoul, from South Korea, to Ukraine again, and after some weeks I will go to Milano.
Okay, Milan.
To Italy.
Milan,
Yep.
Milan. Milano in Italian. Okay, now I correct you. Milano in Italian.
Milan. Okay, because some people call it as Milan.
By the way, have you been in Milan?
No, I was traveling more through the...
It's such a beautiful city. Wow, it's one of my favorite cities. Dijo que sí, que ya empezó a viajar, ha estado en Corea y ahora está yendo a Milán, en Italia, para modelar. Y además dijo en la pregunta anterior, que no lo traduje, dijo que él quisiera que los modelos comiencen a venir a Ucrania también, no solamente que los de aquí vayan allá a Europa. Well, Max, te quiero agradecer muchísimo. I want to thank you so much for this interview. It was a pleasure to interview you. And I give you this last word if you want to say something, whatever you want to say. And thank you very much. Спасибо большое.
Дякую. Thank you in Ukrainian language is дякую.
It's so different from Russia. Sometimes it's so different. Repeat, please.
Дякую.
Дякую. Oh, I can't. Дякую.
You.
Дякую. Okay.
Дякую. Yeah. That's it.
Grazie mille. Entonces le paso la palabra a Max para que se despida. Max.
Yeah, it was nice to speak to you. Guys, just the thing I want to tell to you that just don't learn about Ukraine from Russian news or something like this. If you want to learn something about Ukraine, it's better to learn something probably European news or Ukrainian, something like this. And just the main thing is take care and love peace. Peace to everybody.
Ok, bueno, dice Max que si quieres aprender algo de Ucrania, que no vayas a buscar en la prensa rusa, que es mejor buscar en la prensa europea, y bueno, y paz y amor a todos. Hablé con Max, modelo ucraniano desde Kyiv, y bueno, y este fue Jansen Interviews de hoy. Hasta la próxima.
Esto fue Jansen Interviews por FM Espacio. Hasta nuestro próximo encuentro. Desde 1988,
somos ese aire de radio que día a día elegís.